To Blue Nose, it seemed a nightmare.
Ah yes, the 20-minute cuts of TUGS, a fascinating whale of the show's history. I've made it very clear on this channel of how interesting the 20 and 15-minute edits of the series really are. So recently, I thought about something. How I never actually covered the many changes from the 15 to the 20-minute cuts of the episodes we do have both of. So, here we are today. Today on Sonic Wally, let's talk about the differences between the VHS and TV cuts of TUGS. Before we begin, let me make something very clear. This video will be covering completed episodes only, so unfortunately I won't be covering Warrior, as even then I already covered its 22-minute cut through my deleted scenes video. Also in this video, I'll be interchanging the terms 15/20-minute cuts and TV/VHS versions. When I say TV, it means the 15-minute cut, and 20-minute cuts for VHS. I'm saying this now so we don't get confused. So with that being said, let's begin. Right off the bat, the very first thing we'll talk about is actually the exclusive version of the intro, which was used in the VHS versions of the episodes. This version is clearly a much less polished version of it, namely due to the lack of the iconic TUGS title card with 10 cents. This version is somewhat reminiscent of the version of the intro from the sizzle reel, albeit with more variety of footage used in the show's production, rather than just Jinx and Sunshine stock footage. I won't go into every detail in the footage as I think we're all here for the episodes, not the intro. So with that being said, let's get moving on. Right off the bat, there are some minor shot differences in the opening for Sunshine. Most notably, an outtake from High Winds is used in the 15-minute version to represent the part of the line from tramp steamers to ocean liners. The only other difference that part of the deleted stock footage from High Tide is replaced by extended footage from Regatta. Other than that, the opening stays the same. The Star briefing with Captain Star is shorter in the 15-minute cut. One change, albeit doesn't actually factor in the shorter runtime, is that the wide shot of the stars huddled up for the briefing was partially replaced with an exclusive shot of the Fulton Ferry pulling into Valentine's. This shot is absent in the 20-minute cut and is exclusive to the 15. By the way, the 15-minute cut ends this briefing earlier than the 20, with it cutting to the Zero briefing after Captain Star announces the Duchess contract, with the last line being re-recorded to smooth out the transition.
Liners around. The Duchess. When she arrives this afternoon, the Starfleet will bring her into dock. But first, we've got to prove ourselves. Liners around. The Duchess. When she arrives this afternoon, the Starfleet will bring her into dock. But first, we've got to prove ourselves.
Here's our first major deleted scene from the 20-minute cut. When Hercules leaves 10 cents, we cut to a scene of OJ passing by the switcher. This scene was cut in the 15, although part of the music from this scene was awkwardly spliced in when Hercules leaves, possibly to smooth out the music of Sunshine approaching 10 cents.
Back tonight, oh, and 10 cents. Look after the Duchess for me, won't you?
Speaking of which, to help smooth out cuts, an exclusive shot of Sunshine approaching 10 cents is used. This shot, namely in the Salty's Lighthouse render, has Sunshine clearly painted yellow instead of being painted fully white like in the other scenes. This is due to that these two shots of Sunshine approaching 10 cents was being filmed later than Sunshine's original shoot, which is where he's painted white. Next up is our first example of, rather unnecessarily mind you, added narration to the 15-minute cut. After Zoran and Zack leave in the 20, they are mumbling to each other, but in the 15 cut, they felt to add some narration to the scene.
On.
Come on! There'd been a change, but the stars didn't know this. Here was a chance for Captain Zero to put one over on us.
Most likely to patch out the next two deleted scenes. These two are the second Zero briefing scene and the infamous Sally seaplane scene, the latter being Sally's only of two known speaking roles, the other being in High Winds, which was also cut from its 15. The following scene of the Zeros meeting under the bridge is present, but as you can guess, it was shortened in the 15. Once again, extended footage was used to bridge the gap of the deleted content. Now here's an interesting one. The scene of Wario meeting Izzy Gomez is absent in the 15-minute cut. But what makes it so interesting is that due to this scene being removed, the subplot of Wario promising Izzy a tow was entirely cut, as the scene of Tencent's meeting Izzy adds in some additional dialogue of Tencent's promising if it can give Izzy a tow.
What about a tow?
I'll see you get one, thanks Izzy.
Then OJ confirming he will handle it.
Of course, that's it. Oh wait up, I promised Izzy a tow.
I'll handle that.
Right.
Now the rest of you follow 10 cents upriver.
And also removing the part of Wario speeding off to go find Izzy. After Top Hat and Wario leaves the tow and the Duchess, instead of a long fade transition to the next shot, a shot of Big Mac is interjected between both. This is actually a change I rather like, as it adds a bit more urgency to the episode, I guess. Although if you can argue how the 20 handled it was better, I can definitely see why. Also, the scene of OJ pondering about Big Mac was also cut from the 15. After Tencent and Sunshine go off to tow in the Duchess, both the 20 and 15 play out very differently, with the 20-minute cut having a short conversation between Zip and Zoran, which was cut from the 15. So Captain Star's narration is also completely different in both.
The Starfleet were doing their best without Big Mac. And for a while, it looked as though they were going to make it. But Zoran was still waiting for another chance.
Looks like your plan didn't work, Zoran.
If I can only get rid of that switcher, Sunshine.
Thinking devious, eh, Zoran?
No, just thinking contract. Look, they've slowed her right back.
As the tricky part of the docking operation started, Zoran watched closely. Sunshine and 10 Cents were working hard at their new job when OJ ordered Sunshine to ease. Without Big Mac, the stars were straining to dock the Duchess. Zoran watched closely. Sunshine and 10 Cents were excited and proud. Switchers never worked on liners. OJ ordered Sunshine.
After Zoran hits Sunshine, there is our first bit of evidence that the 20-minute cuts were rather somewhat rushed to be released on VHS. In both, a shot of Sunshine after ramming the Duchess is shown. In the 20, Sunshine doesn't say anything, but in the TV cut, he says, "What happened?"
What happened?
What's even more interesting is that this line is actually present in the US dub for Sunshine, which is actually a specially re-edited version of the 20-minute cut.
What happened?
Also in the scene of Sunshine heading out towards Izzy Gomez, part of Captain Star's narration was shortened to remove the mention of Izzy watching the whole incident.
Couldn't explain what had happened, so he slipped away while the Star Tugs were still busy. He didn't know the sleepy tramper Izzy had been watching the whole incident. Ashamed and confused, Sunshine couldn't explain what had happened, so he slipped away whilst the Star Tugs were busy with the Duchess.
Now we move on to the part of the episode that has seen the most change, that being Act 3. Originally, in the 20-minute cut, the first scene we see after the Duchess incident is the Duchess party scene, where Sunshine sadly watches on as everyone celebrates. After that, we cut to a scene of Captain Zero congratulating the Z-Stacks on sabotaging the Star's Duchess contract. In the 15, both scenes are swapped and play out a little more quickly. In the 15, the part of the Z-Stacks making fun of Sunshine is absent, and the Duchess party scene has narration on top of it.
The Duchess threw a big party celebrating her arrival in port, everybody enjoying themselves. But all Sunshine wanted to do was to get away from Big City, back to his simple life upriver. 10 Cents was getting to like Sunshine and was worried for him.
Also, the scene is weirdly chopped up and merged into the scene of Tencent's going out to look out for Sunshine, which, by the way, the Bridge Cafe band's theme still plays in the background. The shot of Top Hat also remarking about Tencent's leaving to go find Sunshine, and the brief intermission shot with Izzy was also completely cut. Then this cuts to Sunshine leaving from the earlier scene, then cutting to a 15-minute exclusive shot, then some more exclusive narration by Captain Star?
Sunshine may have ruined his big chance, but 10 Cents wasn't going to leave him on his own.
Oh, nobody's ever gonna talk to me again.
10 Cents had no idea where to start looking. Sunshine didn't know the port. Maybe he just got lost.
Sunshine!
Are you guys still keeping up with all these changes I'm saying? Because wow, so much in these three scenes changed between edits. Honestly, I feel like the 15 feels too messy, and I much prefer how the 20-minute cut handled things. Anyhow, the scene of Tencents looking for sunshine is cut down in the 15. The scene of Tencents passing the bridge with Little Owl puffing by in the background, him also running into the fish boat, and then him almost catching up to Sunshine were all cut in the TV edit. The following two scenes were also removed from the 15, albeit the former still being alluded to, that being the Lily and Hercules scene and Sunshine heading back upriver. Now on to the last few changes in the episode. That being the scene of the Star Tugs coming to rescue Sunshine is shorter in the 15, with the footage being extended to compromise for the runtime. Tencents' remark about Top Hat's apology was also removed alongside Warrior speeding off as I mentioned earlier. Finally, for the last two scenes, Captain Zero's final briefing is shorter. And then finally, for reals this time, the final Star briefing has added narration on top of Sunshine's arrival, as well as some slight audio mixing differences.
That was the moment I first knew we had a great team of Star Tugs.
Yeah, welcome aboard. You look great, Sunshine.
Thanks, kidder. On in new colours.
Thus ending episode 1, Sunshine. Can I just quickly say that this is probably one of the more straightforward 15-minute edits? Like, wow, Sunshine saw lots of little things change or cut. Like, the overall best parts of the episode stay mostly intact, I think, but the changes done to it still warrant me preferring the 20. I really dislike some of the added narration. Some scenes really didn't need them that badly. And I'm sorry to say though that some of the odd 15-minute changes only get worse from here. Now let's look at Pirate. The only episode I did not mention in my deleted scenes video. Pirate. Well, actually I did, I just didn't really go into much detail into it. While it might have put me on easy street for that video, unfortunately, Pirate probably got some of the most changes when cut down to its 15-minute runtime. Let's start off a bit small and look at the first scene of the episode. This scene is shortened a bit in the 15-minute version, with some extended footage of Zug being used to help bridge the cuts a bit easier. The scene of Tencents briefly seeing Sea Rogue and mistaking him for Sunshine is also shorter in the 15-minute cut, with the part of Tencents questioning if he's hearing things being removed.
What's me what?
In here, I called.
Ah, can't have heard you. You heading home?
What? Oh, yeah. Oh, come on. I must be tired.
Due to this, the shot of Tencents and Sunshine passing by Grampus is greatly extended in the 15-minute cut. Now here's possibly one of the more notable additions to the 15-minute edit of the episode. This shot of Sea Rogue is exclusive in the 15-minute edit of the episode. Other than that, thankfully this scene is surprisingly one of the more consistent with the 20-minute edit, as it's not really cut down for time. The scene of Tencents and the TheStarSwitchers arguing is much shorter in the 15 cut, and in fact, I feel like it's a bit too cut down, as the scene kinda loses its chaotic impact quite a lot, by cutting down the fierce arguing quite a bit, causing Tencents' line, "I did! I know I did!" to sound a bit too melodramatic in the 15. Scuttlebutt's scene is a little shorter in the 15, him saying that he was only trying to help Tencents got cut.
Rumours are his speciality.
It's only side of hell. The more know about it, the sooner you'll be in the clear.
I am in the clear. Get that clear.
The Zack and Zebedee scene is also cut down a little bit, with one of Zebedee's lines being removed.
It's the evil inside him suddenly comes out, Zack.
There's also an exclusive shot in the 15 where Tencents is seen backing away from the Zero Harbor Tugs. The scene of Grampus suddenly encountering Sea Rogue is shorter in the 15-minute cut, cutting the part of Grampus observing about how creepy it is that night.
Boy, it's creepy round here at night. There's something moving over there. Better check it out.
Also, when Grampus resurfaces after Sea Rogue charges at him, some narration from Captain Star is added. Also, the narration after Grampus loses Sea Rogue is different in both cuts. The extra shots of Sea Rogue stealing more barges is also removed in the 15-minute edit.
I've asked you! Get out of here!
Phew, that was too close.
looks like another of 10 Sense's barges. Where's the thief taking it?
Grampus lost the barge snatcher in the mist and spent the rest of the night worrying who it could be. And all that time, the thief was busy, and other barges were disappearing.
Avast, you! Get out of here!
Grampus submerged fast to avoid being rammed, and surfaced again in time to see it was the barge thief.
Phew, that was too close. Hey, that looks like another of 10 Sense's barges. Where's the thief taking it?
Grampus lost the thief in the mist. Next morning, I called an urgent meeting with Captain Zero.
The Star and Zero briefing scene is majorly cut down in the 15-minute cut, with Zip, Zug, Big Mac and Warrior all having speaking roles in the scene in the 20-minute cut. After Captain Zero announces his scheme, Top Hat and Big Mac would insult him with Goran quickly defending him. This scene was unfortunately significantly trimmed down in the 15 cut. Also, both one of Zoran and Captain Star's lines were, for some reason, also re-recorded between cuts.
We're wasting time. 10 Cents barge is the only one's gone.
Quiet! We've decided to set a trap. Captain Zero!
When Grampus continues his search for Sea Rogue, a brief moment was cut where Grampus is trying to remember where he last saw him. In the infamous warehouse scene where Sea Rogue and his uncle are being threatened by the pirate tugs, one of Grampus' lines is a little easier to hear in the 15 cut.
Looks like
Hear anything?
No.
The next change is probably one of the most infamous changes the TV edit made to the episode, that being the unfortunate truncating of the Top Hat and Warrior and Zip and Zug stakeout scenes. The 15 adds an extra line of narration to Captain Star, saying what the triggered barges are for.
That night, the plan to catch the thief was put into action. The triggered barges were put in places where he might steal them, and a flare would be set off.
I find this particularly weird, as the scene with Captain Zero explaining this is also in the 15-minute cut, and I don't get why they needed to explain this again to the audience, other than potentially filling in some extra seconds perhaps. 10 Cents and Sunshine's stakeout scene is really weird in the TV version. This scene is not only shorter than how it is in the VHS version, but the TV version interjects shots of Zip and Zug from their mostly cut out stakeout scene. The part of Sunshine saying they will catch the thief that night is present, but is placed on top of those aforementioned Zip and Zug shots.
Well, we'll catch the thief tonight, with any luck.
Yeah, we might not. But if we do, I'll sink that fire, you know, not being able to prove it. We might not.
After Grampus begins explaining his findings of Sea Rogue and the pirate tugs, a bit of the later scene of Zip and Zug seeing 10 Cents and Sunshine leaving is used. After Grampus dives underwater, then the rest of the scene plays out as normal? Oh yeah, are you guys confused already? Well, it only gets worse from here. The scene of the pirate tugs hiding Lily, Filbert, and destroying the lighthouse light is completely removed from the 15-minute cut. The scene of 10 Cents charging towards Sea Rogue plays out a bit differently in the TV version. For starters, this scene is a tad shorter, with some dialogue from Sea Rogue, 10 Cents, and Sunshine being removed.
Not much around tonight. I've got to find what they want. Time is running out.
God, it's too spooky for my liking.
I wish I was back working upriver.
Shh, huh? Be quiet.
Then when 10 Cents charges at Sea Rogue, an exclusive shot in the 15 is used, showing him charging towards him at a different angle. After that, a small moment was cut of 10 Cents and Sunshine peering in a bit more on Zip and Zug as they head towards the warehouse. And now here's probably a really weird change. When Grampus gets into the warehouse to save the old man, 10 Cents tells Sunshine and Sea Rogue to wait before they spring out to catch the thieves. In the 15 cut, these moments are swapped. Also, there's an exclusive shot of the old man that's only in the TV edit. And finally for this scene, there's some added narration from Captain Star when the tugs charge toward the pirates.
The tugs and Sea Rogue came hard at the villains from all sides. They were surrounded.
Also, the shot of Warrior shaking his head is absent in the 15-minute cut. The final scene of the episode is also quite a bit different. there's a couple exclusive shots of Sunshine only present in the TV version. The bit of Sea Rogue faking 10 cents is absent, and also Hercules as part of the scene has been entirely removed. As a result, the scene just cuts when Grampus leaves. Finally, in the last scene, one of the close-up shots of Sunshine is absent when he says, "Weren't you a little bit scared?" And also, the 10 cents and Sunshine's last lines were swapped, with the former now saying the latter's line and vice versa. There's also a pretty odd bit of narration from Captain Star added at the end, that totally misses the point of the episode.
They move pretty fast when they're not scared.
They certainly do. They move pretty fast when they're not scared, eh?
They certainly do.
It goes to show that you shouldn't be fooled by appearances. Just because Sea Rogue wore a black patch didn't mean he must be a pirate.
First, wrapping up Pirate. I am not going to sugarcoat it. Pirate was really botched up when being cut down. Pretty much every scene in the episode saw some sort of change when being cut down to 15 minutes. With some of it, I really don't think needed changing. I personally vastly prefer the 20-minute cut, and I'm very thankful it's the version of the episode that's easily accessible on YouTube. Now, let's move on to Regatta, shall we? Regatta. Right off the bat, the episode begins a bit differently. In both the TV and VHS versions, Lily's introduction is altered quite a bit, with the TV version slightly retiming and redubbing some of Captain Star's lines to suit the shorter runtime.
Damder Rocks was dangerous to shipping before they placed lightships there to mark them. Lily Lightship was special. She was equipped with a loud foghorn and a bright light which could be seen for miles and miles around.
Damder Rocks were dangerous to shipping before they placed lightships there to mark them. Lily Lightship was special. She was equipped with a loud foghorn and a bright light seen for miles around.
When the High Winds deleted stock footage, I mean the 10 cents and Sunshine scene shows up, the narration is extended a bit after the narrator says, which kept 10 cents and Sunshine busy.
I had the contract to keep her shipshape and operational, which kept 10 cents and Sunshine busy. If they let her run out of fuel, her light would go out.
An exclusive shot which fittingly is also deleted stock footage from High Winds' 20-minute cut is also used here. 10 cents and Sunshine's dialogue is much shorter in the TV version, which completely almost shortens the scene to a huge degree.
It's a regatta tomorrow. Shame you're going to miss it, Lily.
Yeah, it's my first one.
Later that night.
We're only a minute into the episode and we're seeing so many alterations and cutdowns already. Not a good sign. The scene of the tramper hitting Lily also starts off a bit more quickly in the TV version, removing both the close-up shot of her lie and a bit of narration.
Later that night, a thick fog came down. As she was thinking about all the fun they were going to have, Lily thought she heard something.
Later that night, a thick fog came down. Lily thought she heard something.
After Lily Lightship has been hit by the tramper, the TV version oddly alters some of the timing in the footage, with the light fizzling out shot in particular being extended greatly. When Dawn arrives, for some reason, Captain Star's narration differs completely in the TV version.
Dawn arrived. Lily looked around anxiously, but there was no one to help her. Suddenly she saw lots of bubbles on the surface quite close to her. It was Grampus, the naval submarine.
When dawn came, Lily couldn't see anyone to help her. Not much work done on Regatta Day. Suddenly, she saw bubbles on the water, quite close to her. It was Grampus, the small naval submarine.
All I can say is, why? Why did they completely change the narration here? It doesn't really change or add anything to the episode. After the fishing boat speeds off for help, the star briefing is a tad different in the TV version. First, an exclusive shot that's actually from the Regatta parade later in the episode is used here. This shot is exclusive to the TV version. The part of Top Hat briefly complaining is also removed in the TV version. instead just cutting to 10 Cents and OJ being ordered by Captain Star to get a timber barge that will rescue Lily. When 10 Cents raced off for the timber barge at Lucky's yard, the scene of Zip and Zug blocking him and Zoran threatening to complain to Captain Star about the timber barge were cut. For some reason, Zip does not speak in the 15-minute version of the episode and is oddly mute throughout. The scene of Lily's rescue is also a bit shorter in the 15, where the last bit of Mighty Mo's voice line is cut out.
I'm gonna lift Lily a bit. 10 Cents, attach a line to Grampus, and on command, pull him out.
Right, Mighty Mo.
Okay. Lily a bit. 10 Cents, attach a line to Grampus.
Okay.
The scene also ends when 10 Cents cheers. In fact, this is where a huge chunk of the episode was cut out, namely 2 scenes, most unfortunately including the warrior at the garbage yard scene. Yup, the iconic "No garbage today" scene is completely absent here. What a loss. Also, the scene of Lily at Lucky's yard is also removed. Blue Nose's scene revealing the Navy's plan to blow up Grampus is mostly still here, albeit with 2 changes. One of them I'm actually sort of okay with. When Blue Nose storms in, the narration in the 15-minute cut actually properly introduces him. In the VHS version, Blue Nose is presented as if the audience already knows him, which likely could be a remnant of an earlier episode order where Blue Nose was intended to be introduced in an episode predating Regatta. What episode this was supposed to be is up to speculation.
They were suddenly interrupted by a shrill blast from Blue Nose, the naval tug.
Ahoy there! Ahoy! You there!
10 Cents was telling Big Mac about Lily and Grampus when he was interrupted by a shrill blast from the naval tug Blue Nose, who liked to throw his weight about.
Also, one of Big Mac's lines was cut out.
We'll save our mate Grampus if it's the last thing we do.
The next couple of scenes were also cut down tremendously in the TV version. OJ explaining his plan to 10 Cents and most of the scene of 10 Cents re-encountering the Z-Stacks. Next up is probably the best known change in Regatta's 15, that being the climax of the episode. In this scene when Grampus spits out his water, his voice line coinciding with it is only heard in the 15. Probably more famously was the naval destroyer itself. I think it's time to mention again that like Sunshine, all the 20-minute edited TUGS episodes released were all a tad rushed. This scene notably appears unfinished in the 20-minute cut, where the naval destroyer is only heard sounding the alarm.
What? Oh shit! Why are they parading out here? They're going to be in the line of fire! Stay clear!
That's the destroyer warning us we're in the danger zone!
Ignore it!
What do you mean? And get a direct hit? No, thank you very much. They're gonna fire!
Keep going!
In the 15, however, they actually have voice lines.
Why are they parading out here? They're going to be in the line of fire! Stay clear!
That's the destroyer warning us we're in the danger zone!
Ignore it!
What do you mean? And get a direct hit? No, thank you very much.
This change is probably one of the most commonly shared proof that the VHS releases were rushed. Also, the final part of the scene of the barge being blown up is shorter in the 15 cut. When Zoran inspects the Star-Tugs about Grampus, not only the scene is shortened a bit, removing the part of Zug lying about 10 Cents and Top Hat telling Zoran to clear off, but also a bit of dialogue from Top Hat and Hercules. In the TV version, the reason he leaves is wanting him to ask Captain Star to ask the Navy to spare Grampus.
We'll hear about it from the Navy, don't worry. I'll go and see if Captain Star will get the Navy to spare Grampus.
Take on the Navy. Worth a try. Go on, Grampus, you go with Top Hat. Well, come on, my dears, the rest of us will join the parade.
This is actually quite a neat little bit of character growth for Top Hat, as earlier on, he was hesitant to save Grampus in favour of the parade, but now probably since he witnesses Tug Fleet save him, and realising how much a good friend Grampus is, he likely had a change of heart. This is probably one of the few changes in the TV version I'm actually okay with, the only other being the naval destroyer lines. After Zoran pulls in his float from the parade, the TV version continues playing the Bridge Cafe band theme. In the VHS version, the parade music resumes. Also exclusively in the TV version, repurposed footage from Sunshine is used with the Duchess's party. Kinda weird given that the Duchess is being shown and not Princess Alice. Who cares? Also finally, an additional bit of narration from Captain Star is added here also.
I told the Navy about my tugs rescuing Grampus. I said I'd buy him. He turned out to be a real bug.
Again, like Pirate, I don't think I really like many of the changes of the 15-minute cut. Mostly due to the cut down runtime, making the episode feel rushed and too brief in places. However, unlike Pirate, I found a couple changes in Regatta kinda neat. One of them again being the showcase of Top Hat's character development, which is sorely missed in the 20-minute cut. Anyways, that's Regatta done. Let's finally look at our last episode, Munitions. Here comes Munitions, our fourth and final episode for today. One of Bluenose and Hercules' lines were changed / re-recorded in the TV edit.
You're under Navy jurisdiction. Obey orders and wait till they've made my inspection.
I am under jurisdiction. Captain Stars, a little wake-washer like you doesn't tell me what to do.
We're sailor.
I'm needed elsewhere.
He's under Navy orders. Obey orders. Wait till they've made my inspection.
I am under orders. Captain Stars. So don't you try and tell me what to do, Bluenose, old thing.
And other than that, the first scene of the episode surprisingly remains 100% intact, barring an additional music cue change in the TV edit.
Launch, fire practice now, and don't leave it till I tell you. Do I make myself clear? And now move, faster they flame, faster they flame.
Aye, aye, sir.
Right, Starfleet, we're on service.
I'm standing by, waiting for orders to proceed to the old dock.
And those orders are cancelled, and I'm in charge. Fire practice now, and don't leave it till I tell you. Do I make myself clear? And now move, faster they flame, faster they flame.
Aye, aye, sir.
Rightio, right off the bat, Munitions' TV edit is off to a roaringly better start than Regatta and Pirate's TV edits. Nothing in this first scene has been cut down significantly or is paced weirdly. However, this good streak doesn't seem to last forever. The biggest cut from the episode happens here. The entire star briefing in this episode was completely removed in the TV edit. Obviously, the biggest reason why it was completely removed was time constraints, but honestly, I don't think that's the whole reason. Probably the other and likely big reason why it was completely axed for time is because this scene actually has quite a bit of references / continuity to other episodes, something that likely was why this scene was ultimately cut for time. Munitions is the 5th episode in airing order in TUGS, however it appears that the episode was always planned to be set a bit later in the series' timeline. References to High Tide are mentioned in the briefing scene, such as Big Mac being congratulated for winning the Still contract, and Sunshine being tasked to collect Mighty Mo to do work on the Broken Bridge from the same episode. This was ultimately the biggest reason why the scene saw the cutting room floor in the final episode. While this is such a great and funny scene from the episode, in a way, I completely understand its removal, and in fact, I'm willing to forgive its removal more than Regatta or Pirate's funniest scenes for one real reason. This scene is almost 2 minutes long. That's 2 extra minutes that the 15-minute cut has to keep the pacing intact. And now the question is, does the TV version use it to its advantage to help preserve some necessary scenes? The Zeros carrying explosives scene is slightly shorter in the 15, but is otherwise pretty much intact. The only real difference being Zoran's shortened and re-recorded line, and there being no fade out at the end.
Eat your heart out, Star Stacks. This trip's worth 20 garbage barges, ferry trips or girder tows. If we don't get blown up. That's done,
Eat your heart out, Star Tugs.
The next scene with 10 cents is sorter in the 15, cutting some additional dialogue from Bluenose and a few shots.
Ahoy! Ahoy there! Ahoy! You with the oil barge. I'll scrape you too if you don't get to your post on time.
I'm always on time, and you know it.
You'd better be, or I'll have you clapped in dry dock. It's about time you fancy.
The end of the scene also ends differently. The scene of Blue Nose budging in when Krakatoa is being loaded is a bit shorter in the 15-minute cut, namely a couple lines from Soren.
Oh no, here we go. Shut it, the paddler's right. We're not moving that barge, mister.
Blue Nose and Zebedee insulting OJ.
Get pension off, old-timer. This is my pool, eh? See what goes.
Go and draw your pension, OJ, you bastard.
Zack and Zoran both insulting Blue Nose and defending Big Mickey.
It's a brave tug orders a shawl crane around.
Yeah, nobody tells Big Mickey what to do.
And then an extended arrival from Tencent.
Well, I do, and I'm in charge, so obey orders.
Also, when Blue Nose insults Big Mickey, his lines are altered between both edits of the episode.
I want this fuel unloaded now. Wait, you, Corky, drop your hook into this baby. Leave the munitions right now.
It's unloaded.
Well, stop unloading it. Big Mickey, drop your hook into my barge. My priority, right now.
When all heck breaks loose, the scene of Tencent pulling Blue Nose out to safety is surprisingly intact in the 15. However, there is one major addition in the TV version, and is arguably one of the more notable aspects of the 15 cut as a whole. There's new music? Yep. Munitions' 15 actually adds quite a bit of missing music that was not present in the 20-minute cut. Once again, there's a pretty good reason why this is the case, likely a side effect of the episode being rushed out to home video. It's honestly quite an interesting addition to the episode. Personally, I feel like some tension is lost in the newly added music, but on the other hand, some parts in the 20 can come off as unintentionally awkward due to the missing music. Now, we finally reach the part I'm sure you all are most interested in, my thoughts on the change of Big Mickey's fate in Munitions. As mentioned earlier, Munitions was supposed to take place after high tide, as evident in the star briefing scene. However, just as infamous evidence is the scene of Big Mickey dying. In the 20-minute cut, Big Mickey's fate is pretty much subtly confirmed to the audience of him being blown up from the dock. The characters all talk about how he sacrificed himself.
Yeah, that was too close for comfort.
It took real skill to make that move.
He saved us all for sure.
In the TV version, due to Munitions coming before high tide, which is where Big Mickey also appears in by name and in character, they awkwardly rewrote his fate with narration to have him surviving in shallow water.
Too close for comfort.
It took real skill to make that move.
He saved us all for sure.
And lying in shallow water saved Big Mickey from both fire and explosion.
It took real skill to make that move.
He saved us all for sure.
This is weird, especially since, although cut down, Tencent and OJ still talk about him as if he died. Yeah, this is pretty rough, and was definitely not the intention of David Mitton, who wrote this episode. Quite possibly the most notorious 15-minute edit ever made. Also, by the way, some shots in this scene have been trimmed down a bit, but that's beside the point. Top Hat's scene is trimmed down quite a bit, cutting after Sunshine and the fire launch pass by. Also, by the way, their lines were re-recorded.
Wouldn't want low-lifes like you there. What's that?
Emergency! Emergency! Get them tied off and follow on, Top Hat. Might need all hands.
Yeah, follow on, Top Hat. Fire at your dock.
There's love to join you, but these two are in a right state.
Always our fault, eh, Frank?
Never is, eh, Eddie?
It could take us along. Like to see a fire.
The only fire you're going to see, I can tell you this for a fact, is the one I will set under your tracks if you don't get a move on.
Oh.
Yeah. They wouldn't want low-lifes like you there. What's that?
Emergency! Emergency! Get them tied up and follow on, Top Hat. Might need all hands.
Yeah, Top Hat, follow on. Fire at the old dock.
The scene following that has a beginning portion absent in the TV version.
After all that's blown out, a fire will really spread.
I feel so helpless.
God, they were really big explosions.
There's more to come yet. Just you wait. She was nearly fully loaded before that naval twit arrived. What's on board will rip her apart.
Also, when we come back to the scene in the 15, there's some, let's just say, unnecessary narration added in.
The tugs could only watch helplessly as fire and explosions in the tramper spread to dangerous chemicals on the dockside.
When 10 Cents rushes off to go take away a now flaming fuel tanker, we originally, kind of awkwardly mind you, cut to a scene of Warrior noticing the fire and after that speeding off away from Lord Stinker to the dockside fire. This moment was cut in the 15. After that, we cut back to 10 Cents approaching the fuel barge. A bit of his dialogue is briefly cut out.
Boy, it's really hot. There's no chance of getting a line on it.
What does he think he's doing?
Don't know, but rather him than me.
Better push it. I've got to get it out to sea.
When the fire tug and Sunshine show up, there's an extended scene of him serving the fire and making fun of Blue Nose.
You lot, stay back!
I wasn't thinking of moving anyway, mister.
Who's responsible for this then?
Him! Behind me! Blue Nose!
Oh, him. Him who gives all the orders. Well, he won't be giving any more now. He's in shock.
Again, this moment was entirely cut in the 15. When Warrior shows up, a brief humorous scene with the Z-Stacks is shown.
There's two things wrong with that order, mister. Warrior don't move fast. His lights may be on, but there's no one there.
At least he's in there.
This was also cut in the 15-minute cut. A bit of a pattern we're seeing, aren't we? Also, when Warrior is seen looking after Puffer near the tankers, a brief moment from the scene was cut. Zoran being asked to take a fire barge to save Krakatoa is also missing in the 15, and all further references to the scene were cut, especially after 10 Cents is nearly blown up by the fuel barge. Now, for the climax. In the 20-minute cut, everyone watches in horror as the fire tears Krakatoa in pieces. In the 15 cut, they thought to add some, once again, unnecessary narration.
The final explosion tore the tramper apart. Much to the horror of the watching tugs, to Blue Nose it seemed a nightmare.
A nightmare indeed. A nightmare to add such a silly bit of narration to an otherwise tense scene. Anyways, finally, last but not least, the ending narration by Captain Star is completely different between the two cuts. In the 20-minute cut, the scene goes as shown.
The accident was caused by a few hasty words and bad temper. Orders may be orders, but they don't supersede common sense. Blue Nose was right in his way, as were 10 Cents and OJ right in theirs. But common sense from all three would have prevented the fire starting. Always respect fire. If you don't, it will destroy you, your surroundings, and your friends.
Now here's the 15s.
That all happened because of a few hasty words and bad tempers. Orders may be orders, but they blinded Blue Nose from using simple common sense and from keeping level-headed. So a tiny incident grew into a big disaster, and the old dock was left in ruins. We should have the greatest respect for fire. Just think what might have happened to 10 Cents and his friends just because Blue Nose didn't.
Quite possibly the most notable difference between both is that the 20 puts particular blame on the fire between three characters. Blue Nose, 10 Cents, and OJ? What's interesting is that in the 20 and 15, OJ isn't really shown doing anything wrong to cause the fire. In fact, he's shown trying to warn Blue Nose about the explosives being unloaded from the barge. In the 15's version, it's simplified to just say,
might have happened to 10 Cents and his friends,
most likely due to fit the altered version of the monologue. The other difference is that the 20-minute cut goes into much more detail in terms of its moral, which for some reason this 15-minute cut simplified greatly. Despite the weird continuity error present, I much prefer how the 20-minute cut handled its last monologue. For us, wrapping up Munitions. Overall, I don't think Munitions is as bad as Pirate nor Regatta's 15. Obviously, I still massively prefer the 20-minute cut overall, not only because we just get a bit more of that fire sequence. However, that being said, I do think there's merit to watching the 15-minute cut, namely due to the added music and just overall polish the episode received in the 15, besides some pretty unneeded narration. I feel like all the re-recorded lines are better than the 20-minute version, and I feel some of the cuts made to the scenes were wise ones. Still though, Sunshine will always have the upper edge in terms of the 15-minute edits in my opinion. That episode doesn't feel too stripped down in any major way in the 15-minute cut to a point that you feel something is missing. And first, my friends, is my TUGS VHS vs TV edits video. Overall, if you're curious, yeah, the VHS versions win by a country mile. It's pretty obvious why. TUGS really took advantage of the 20-minute runtime, and even in the simpler episodes, I feel like these additions were welcome to flesh out the world. The 15-minute cuts just frankly should have been only really TV exclusive, which is actually what happened to these versions of the 4 episodes we looked at. They fell into obscurity, only being released on VHS and VHS releases, and in more recent memory, the TUGS Exhibitions' limited DVD release. Despite my negative thoughts on these cuts, again, as always, the TUGS history. And oh boy, they are interesting. Thank you so much for watching. Credits to music, sources and assets used are in the description, music being linked on a Google document. Let me know down in the comments how you rank these 4 15-minute edits. Please tell me all about it in the comments section. Also, special shoutouts go to the YouTube channel TUGS 15-Minute Archive for providing a watermarkless copy of Pirate's 15 cut. Links to the channel are in the description. This is Sonic Wally, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye!